Hello, and welcome back to Deep Dive Cinema, the only podcast.
Yep.
Anyway, let's jump right into things. It's been a long week, and we're back for issue 3 of the Deep Dive podcast. So here I am. I'm Meara. I'm with Elliott, and we're gonna get going.
Yeah, that's me. I'm Elliott.
Yeah, there's only 2 of us. They've worked that out by now. And if this is your first episode, you can expect lots more of these wacky hijinks. We're so random. Anyway, okay, let's get into it. Crap character of the week this week.
Yeah, you're taking the reins?
I'm taking the reins this week. As you know, if you listen to our previous issues, we do it on alternating weeks. And this week, I'm doing a character from X-Force.
X-Force. So that's like X-Men, but more edgy?
Yeah, basically, it's the one where they decided, hey, you know what? Maybe this Charles Xavier guy is not all he's cracked up to be, and maybe we should just kill people who disagree with us and stuff.
So they were like, hey, you know how, Professor X sometimes gets people killed? We're not about that. Instead, we decide to kill people, and we don't hide it under the table.
No, they're quite open about it, really.
Yeah, because Deadpool was on that team. He was like, X-Men...
Well, if you asked anybody in any of comic books what was the edgiest time period, it was easily the early 90s.
Oh yeah, everyone had blades on their outfits.
Blades. Aquaman got like a metal arm and like a beard, and everyone just became like ridiculously ripped. Like they have like 24 packs instead of 6 packs and stuff, and it just became so out there. And one of the people who is a very respected comic book writer, Rob Liefeld, who worked on some Spider-Man in the early 90s, or late 80s, early 90s, and he was responsible for, when Spider-Man's webbing is all kind of like knotted together in the comics and stuff, like it looks like string and it's knotted, bubbles in it. Yeah, well, he introduced that. Yeah. Because previously it was just like straight webs, and it's been like that ever since. Yeah, basically.
It's got the famous there's a bit twisting around the base of it.
There's always so much like spare web like lassoed around him.
Yeah.
Well, he was he eventually went on to leave Marvel and started Image Comics, which were responsible for
Spawn.
Spawn, yeah. Spawn. That was Todd McFarlane actually, but like they all joined that together and worked on all sorts of stuff.
Dragon?
Something like that, yeah. There's some weird ones. And, they went on to do, like, The Walking Dead and everything also.
Yeah.
But anyway, Rob Liefeld took over New Mutants, and I started reading New Mutants a while ago because obviously they're coming out with a film. Maybe. Who knows if it's actually going to happen, but...
the trailer's there. Is the movie there? We don't know.
It was supposed to be out like 6 months ago, and it's...
Oh, really?
Yeah, they pushed it back until like mid-2020 or something.
What? That's ridiculous.
It's so far off. They booked in like 5 months of reshoots, but I think Disney keep pushing them back because Disney obviously are going to acquire Fox, and I'd say as soon as that acquisition goes through, they're just going to say drop it.
Gone.
Yeah, probably the same with Phoenix. But regardless, I was interested in New Mutants because it wasn't one I ever really read. Traditionally, it's a super underperforming comic book. It did really very poorly when it was during its run. I think I could be wrong here, and any X-Men fans will be cross with me. I think it was originally called X Factor, and then they changed it to X-Force because it sounded cool.
Yeah.
And then
I think you're right about that.
Yeah, I
think
so.
It wasn't originally X-Force.
And then in addition to the fact that New Mutants is coming out, like X-Force is referred to in Deadpool 2, so...
Yeah, new, progressive, and gender neutral.
Yeah. But it's not really... It was edgy and everyone just kills everyone was the way that it went in the comics. So this is a character who's kind of like an anti-hero. He's not really a good guy or a bad guy. He was introduced in X-Force Annual 2.
Okay.
And what's the most extreme name you can think of?
I was gonna say Speed Kill, but that's an actual sideways character.
That's the basis of the 90s.
Blood Kill.
Something. It's not like that.
Extra large.
They went a little more, a little less inventive, perhaps. This guy's just called X-TREME, but with an X.
With an X. There was no question about whether that was spelled like the actual word. It had to just be the letter. Is it capital letter?
Capital X-TREME. Yeah. And he's a cracking character. So he's a Rob Liefeld original, I suppose. And first of all, I just want to talk about how he looks. and his background. So this dude is, oh god, right. So he's half mutant and half Shi'ar, and the Shi'ar are a race of alien who are often at war with the Kree.
Are they the bird people?
They are descended from avians. They've got feathers on their faces and stuff, and the royalty have like different feathers. They're like noticeably different, the royal ones. Yeah. But despite being half Shi'ar, this dude has no feathers. He's just a massive, ripped white guy.
It was just cool at the time to be half one thing, half another thing.
Yeah, basically. It's like half centaur probably thrown in there, so it's like 7 halves. It's as many as they could.
He's basically the Indominus Rex.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
We got some cuttlefish in there too.
he's half Shi'ar, half mutant, half cuttlefish. That's confirmed. So he's got pointy ears because what's a comic book alien without pointy ears? Yeah. They all have pointy ears. And then he's got massive blonde hair that's just like a lion's mane, but it's all like rat tails, like cornrow type things. Ooh. It's terrible. And he's got this ridiculous like blue, sharp, pocket-filled outfit. Like so many pockets. He could carry everyone from his home planet back to Earth if he wanted to.
Does he have the thing that did he have like shoulder pads at all?
I can't remember shoulder pads, but probably. That was more of an 80s thing, I guess. But
big belt?
Yeah, probably. He's got everything you'd expect him to.
For the really extreme 90s characters, they had just like little razor blades on their outfit just for no reason whatsoever. Probably.
Well, everything that you can imagine that he'd have which is edgy, he probably has it.
Yeah.
Is the bottom line. He's introduced and he kind of like half talks about his backstory, but he's like, I woke up on Earth and I don't remember anything, but I do remember that I'm from this planet, but I don't remember my name. And someone's like, okay, your name is Adam X. And he's like, okay. And then, so he starts working for Martin Strong, who's another pretty bad comic book villain. I actually mentioned him to you before. He's the dude whose mutant ability is he's got a great brain, but he was born with fins for arms and legs. So he's pretty terrible. He's working for that guy, and that guy, like every X-Men villain, is like, hey, we hate mutants, get rid of mutants. And it's
like, either we hate humans, get rid of humans, or we hate mutants, get rid of mutants.
Yeah, but this guy is a mutant, but his wife left him because he's got fins for arms and legs, and now he's like, damn, being a mutant sucks.
So did he...
We're getting way off track.
but did he marry her and then get fins for legs? Or
no, he's got like
I can see past.
He's got like a fake. He's got like a synthetic body, which is like a massive black guy.
Okay,
like he's absolutely huge. He's like 20 feet tall.
Okay, what?
I don't know.
She was like, "This is the man for me." Go
and then she found out that he's got fins, and she was like, "This is a no-go." Right. So this dude, X-TREME, it's not just his appearance that's edgy, or his backstory that's edgy.
Okay.
His powers are about as edgy as you can get as well.
Right.
So his deal is he can set people's blood on fire.
What?
I'm not even joking.
That's so specific.
And his own blood is made of acid.
What?
Yeah.
Can he set his blood on fire?
I don't know. I've not seen that attempted.
Okay.
So what he actually does, and they actually for some reason go into like the specifics of the science of it, is like if he can oxygenize the electrolytes in the blood or something like that. So he can do it regularly because everyone has oxygen in their bloodstream.
Yeah.
But then he also just carries like small knives because if you can make like a tiny incision, then the blood gets more oxygenated.
Okay.
So he has to do like a small incision on you, and then you're really done for. And that's his power, and it's like I don't know. It seems like he can kind of do it as like a warning, like this is I'm gonna hurt you, mate.
I've turned the blood in your pinky into fire all over your whole body.
But then he can also just like kill people with it,
right?
And you find out that he's got acid blood because he gets cut open and it like cuts a hole in the floor, and he's like, "Aha! You thought my blood was regular blood, but." Why would I be weak to this one specific ability that only I have? And they're like, well, because no one else would use it. It's a terrible ability.
How stupid.
Yeah, so he came to Earth. He's like, I don't remember anything but how to use my abilities. And then this Martin Strong guy is like, I'm going to train you in how to stop all mutants, so go fight Cable and the rest of the X-Force. And he's like, okay. And then there's some other woman, and I forget her ability. he's like, you're my friend, and she's like, I can't believe I've been made to do this, and he's like, yeah, haha, me too, but really he's like, this is fine.
No, he's just, even though he's half mutant, he's like, well, this guy with fish for limbs is on something.
Yeah. They go and have a big fight with Cable and all that, and then
My wife left me because I have elf ears.
and I'm half mutant. Maybe he hates mutants because he's weird for being just half something that's not Shi'ar.
Oh, no, see, one time he was cooking with his wife, but then he, chopped his finger cooking, and she was like, he's a monster. He's got acid for blood.
Put acid in the cooking.
Yeah.
And then his whole family died from eating the acid.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Oh, well, that's a film we need to see. This dude's, he's been in, 12 issues of stuff as well, because, he continues to exist, but just... There's no good use for him.
Yeah, so he's used and then they're like, alright, we'll just get him out the story. And then another writer is like, time to bring back X-TREME, baby. The coolest guy in town.
Yeah, he's really just the worst. Of all the characters that we talk about, there's a lot of bad characters, but this is just one of the ones that, when you read something camp and stupid from the 60s and you're like, oh man, this is, how silly were they back then? And, they thought this was cool. But then you get to the 90s and you're like, you should have known better by now. You should have known that this isn't what people wanted. Yeah, oh man, it's cringy. At the end of it as well, Cable's like, hey, you're free from Martin Strong. You want to join the X-Force? And he's like, nah. First of all, I got to do some finding myself. And they're like, you lost all your memory. What are you going to do to find yourself? He's like, I've been trained to kill all mutants and be a mutant's living nightmare, so I need to find myself. And they're like, okay, off you go.
Have fun, man.
Yeah. It's like the only thing that this man knows how to do is track and kill mutants.
I just looked up a picture of him, and he's got little knives on his shoulders. He also has a soul patch, the
yeah, that's hair, right. Yeah, he does.
A goatee that just goes down in a strip, and a backwards baseball cap.
I seem to recall as well he has little beads. I don't know if this was from the issue he was introduced in or another one, but he's got little beads in the end of his is it not cornrow? You know what I mean, rat tail kind of
Yeah, because he's got a big mane of hair, and then the ends of it are braided.
Yeah. And little beads in the end of them, and they're shaped like skulls as well.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I forgot about the baseball cap, but he sure does.
He's got a skin tight blue suit, but I'm like, I feel like that should be denim.
He probably has denim. 7 layers of denim on it or something. Oh, he's just the worst design that you've ever seen. You see, the gangster characters from the 60s and stuff, and they're all in their 3-piece suits, and you're like, isn't this funny? But, this is truly, this couldn't have been written in any time other than 1993.
No, he's the most 90s-looking person you've ever seen.
Yeah, he really... And honestly, the sad thing about this is, as with every week, we're going to talk a little bit about how we put them into a film. And honestly, with the state of the X-Men universe, I feel like he'd fit in. And
he would.
No one would bat
No one would question this stuff.
Everyone would be like, okay. After the portrayal of, Psylocke that they had in X-Men Apocalypse, I'm just like, yeah, nothing's off the table.
Yeah.
They could do this, which is a shame.
You can put in anything stupid and act like everyone should be taking it seriously.
If this was added, though, into, the MCU, he'd be a great character for, he'd be exactly the type of dude who everyone who just decides that they don't like mutants would be like, yeah, but look at this guy. Yeah. If they were a new thing, it's suddenly mutants are a thing and everyone's kind of scared of them because, there's some extremist ones and stuff. This is the guy that everyone would be like, but look at how this guy looks. They'd look past, Nightcrawler and stuff like that, and they'd be like, yeah. Oh god, this dude's backwards baseball cap. What's he thinking? And everyone would be like, man, culturally, this hairstyle's probably not okay. It'd be like a boycott X-TREME or X-TREME is cancelled Twitter movement.
Guy Fieri would see him and shave off his own soul patch.
Yeah, isn't he actually he's got normal hair again now?
Really?
Yeah, I saw so.
That's so sad.
Yeah, I know. He's lost himself over the years. That's what Hollywood does to a man. Yeah, so actually...
he needs to go and find himself.
Yeah, he's truly... If this had been made in 93 when X-TREME came out, Guy Fieri would have been spot on perfect.
To play him,
He's got the black shirt with flames around the waist.
Yeah.
It'd be perfect.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't Guy Fieri like cook?
Yeah, he's a cooking show.
Okay, right.
I like you and I probably both like we didn't grow up with American television. Well, some, but not like American cable or anything like that. So, Guy Fieri we only really know through like memes I guess. Yeah. Basically,
Guy Fieri's just a funny looking man.
I bet he's a nice guy though.
I'm sure.
I don't know anything about him, but I bet he'd be nice to have over for like a beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of want to like brush off his frosted tips. You know.
Yeah. Oh man. I wonder how often he has to do that, because when you have short hair, like
that's gonna
that grows out pretty quickly.
Yeah. Good question. 20 of our followers that have frosted tips.
What are you doing with your life? You're listening to this crap podcast with frosted tips. Time to rethink things. This is the segment that we now have 2 weeks in a row, which is just I grill our viewers.
We've got crap comic book character of the week, and then time to insult anyone who listens.
Also, what are you doing with your life? But, so I was thinking about casting as we do every week, and I actually have like a perfect casting for this. If he wanted to be introduced in like a serious way, like in the MCU, I have like the spot on casting.
Yeah.
And this is, I've got a burp going.
Here we go. Pretty good.
Yeah, it was okay. It was kind of weak. I'll give that one a 6.
Oh, we'll see how it sounds.
Okay, we got this dude. There's this actor who's a German actor, and he looks maybe kind of more like Albanian or something than like straight up German.
Yeah.
But his name is Florian Muntenau, I believe. I could be pronouncing that very, very wrong.
Oh, of course. I love his works.
There you go. Oh, yeah, everyone talks about Florian Muntenau. And this dude has only been in one short film.
Okay.
So this is a real deep dive, if you will, in terms of
cinema.
casting. He's in a short German film called Bogat, which is about like a mafia dealing. It's very short.
Okay.
It's really good. It's on like I don't know if it's there legally, to be honest. I'm not sure if I should promote it, but I saw it on Vimeo.
Yeah.
Or no, Dailymotion or one of those.
Yeah.
One of these, we're better than YouTube type websites, where they act all like high and mighty, and you've got to like, send in like information about yourself.
And it's like, this isn't available in your area anyway. Forget about it.
Well, yeah, he's, so I saw it on there, and he's great. He's so good. And he's actually been cast in the upcoming Creed 2
to play
the son of Ivan Drago.
Okay, no, because I know that guy. I know him. What's his name again?
Florian Muntenau.
I actually know who Florian Muntenau is.
He is massive. He's 6'4". He's like 26, I think. But this dude could be 35. Like he's been just absolutely he's a professional fighter. Yeah, I've seen him mostly. I looked up some clips of him. He's mostly into boxing, it seems, but I've seen him like videos of him training in like the octagon and stuff as well. So like this dude's a machine. Like he's huge. He just like you can imagine him with like the ridiculous like hair, like a wig on the backwards baseball cap. Like I think he would be a really, really great casting. And having just done one short film and to pull like the like main villain in a film like Creed 2, that's damn impressive. That is. So obviously the casting agents have seen something in him. So this is like, I can see him being like the next Dave Bautista or whatever pretty quickly. I'd say Marvel, snap him up as quick as you can, because like he's going to be in hot demand. Snap
up X-Men, snap up this guy and release your first film, X-TREME.
He's the only X-Man. And he's got no peers to tell him that this isn't a good idea. So I think that'd be a really cool casting.
If anyone's going to play him, it should be that guy.
I spent a lot of time thinking about that and kind of going through some bigger names. And I couldn't really find anyone who I was like, maybe Channing Tatum, but I don't know. I don't think he's right for it. And also, didn't he have pointy ears in that Jupiter Ascending?
He did. He was like, I'm more dog than human. And she was like, I love dogs. And then at the end, he's like, look, baby, I got wings, because all dogs have wings.
Yeah, well, seeing him with pointy ears has put me off casting him as X-TREME. And as
you had him on Photoshop, did you? And you're putting the blonde hair on the soul patch, and you got to the pointy ears, and you started having flashbacks.
Yes. What's that line from Jupiter Ascending where it's like, I create life? and I destroy it. It's like, did someone write that in like 2015? Come on, dude. What are you doing? It's like, let's just read my very first screenplay, the book. And you're like, damn, I'm going to do it.
That was,
Wachowski sisters.
Yeah, no, but what was the actor who was like, I just create life?
Oh, that's Eddie Redmayne.
Eddie Redmayne, yeah.
Who's like very heralded as a good actor.
Yeah,
and I've seen him in The Theory of Everything, which he was good in and very well casted. And I don't think I've liked him in anything else.
No, but like he's like I think he's a decent actor, but that was just not a. Yeah, that was not a good. That was not a.
He needs to do something other than bumbling British guy. That's what he needs to do.
Yeah, he needs to branch out a little bit from bumbling British guy.
The only performance I've liked him in, he wasn't a bumbling. Well, even then, he kind of was.
Yeah, he was a bit.
But I guess like it felt more time appropriate rather than like he didn't feel like he doesn't feel like a 2018 mumbling British guy.
No,
I feel like you'd get like. I don't know, Benedict Cumberbatch if you wanted that now or something, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, if you want anything, you get Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, probably. Or even Donald Gleeson does a fantastic English accent, and he could very much be a better bumbling British guy if he wanted to.
Yeah, like in About Time?
Yeah, in About Time.
He was good.
Which, by the way, if anyone hasn't seen that, that's one of my favourite films.
That's a very sweet film. It's a very good film.
Yeah, I watched that on a plane and cried a lot. It's a very good film.
Yeah.
Great. Well, so that's our crowd character of the week. Actually, I'm the one who does the photoshopping for the.
Oh, you've got it ready
for the thumbnails for this. So I already have the issue 3-1 pulled up.
He's got like little sickles. Are they called kukri or something?
I don't know. Well, he doesn't need them. I think he throws them away at the end of his first appearance as well, because he's like, I'm not going to cut people anymore.
What? But you're covered in blades.
Maybe he gets just like a nice t-shirt and he's like I'm changing my ways.
Surely like blades on your body isn't the only way you could like to expose blood. Just punch a guy and you bust his lip. He's dead.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that doesn't work like that on Shi'ar.
Give him a gun.
Damn, you're right. Yeah, but if he had a gun, what's the point in being able to set people's blood on fire?
Because if it doesn't kill him, then he's like, well, now it does.
I wonder if he just found a patch of blood on the floor, could he set it on fire?
I don't know.
This is the kind of high quality question that we like to ask on this podcast.
And I'm sure it will be answered.
Oh, actually, I just want to mention that because we haven't really come up with a good name for our like bad comic book character section yet. Someone in the comments last week suggested characTURD of the week.
characTURD.
Yeah, I think that was our only comment as well, so I thought that I should talk about it.
Thanks, man. We see you and we appreciate it. Did you like it?
God bless you. What?
Did we like the comment?
Probably, I don't know. Maybe I pinned it or something.
Okay.
I don't know how YouTube works nowadays. Back in my day, it was so much more simple. Great, let's move on to our next section. And this is a question that we thought about a little bit this week, and we haven't talked to each other about it yet. And it comes in lieu of Kevin Feige, who's the head creative executive of Marvel, saying that Captain Marvel will be the strongest MCU character following her introduction.
Yes.
And that's turned some heads. Some people are a bit, some people are like, yes, I love Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Some people are like, well, this is not good because we've got so many established characters.
Yeah.
So should Captain Marvel be the strongest villain? Let me know what you think.
Just really quick, I want to check, obviously, you probably did go, and here's the context of what I mean, but we're talking strongest as in just, like, the most powerful and not the strongest, like, she can lift the most.
Yeah, the strongest is in the most powerful, I suppose, because, like...
generally powerful.
Yeah, like, I suppose, Hulk would be able to outmuscle Thanos without the Power Stone, I'd imagine.
Yeah, probably.
So, but, like, Thanos is still a more powerful character because he's got the scope and ambition, And
he's got the cool fighting style. Did you see him punching him in the kidneys?
Smart. He ducked some punches as well. He's got a good bob and weave.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Let's put him up against Florian Munteanu.
Surprisingly agile.
Yeah. Fair play, Thanos. You've been working out.
Yeah, we can see the effort. Yeah, so not the most physically strength-wise powerful, but the most power-wise powerful, I guess.
You think she should be?
I think if she is, I don't think it should be ridiculously so.
Right.
Because we've just had, like, when Thor came in Ragnarok, he kind of went from his power levels was dripping to he turned it on the tap fully. If you get me. Like, he really became a more powerful character.
He's insanely powerful now.
Yeah, and then he got Stormbreaker, his big ol' axe.
And he can summon the Bifrost with that.
Yeah, and so he's now even more powerful. Yeah. So when we saw him and he just decimated the Outriders, and then
in Wakanda,
and then he puts his axe all the way through Thanos.
Yeah, he beats Thanos with 6 stones in the Infinity... Or he doesn't beat him, but he outpowers him.
Yeah, which was amazing. So if we have someone who's like twice that powerful, that's just ridiculous. We don't need that.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking in Infinity War, obviously there's never a moment where just everyone attacks Thanos. It's always like groups, and obviously that makes sense for a movie because you don't want them all together, so you can have everyone have a chance to say something and do something.
And that worked really well in that film because. Especially like on Titan, there was a great mixture of characters who didn't really know each other, and there was some good dynamics there.
There was, but because I was just thinking, if they all just rushed Thanos, if he didn't just do his teleporting away thing, they could beat him.
Yeah, well, they nearly did.
They nearly did, yes. Yeah. So and that was with a couple of them. You know, even on Titan, they almost beat him.
Yeah.
So I definitely don't think. I think she should be like on par with Thor, and maybe just like a tiny step higher, just so Thor's like, oh man, I did all this work. I thought I was going to be the strongest.
Right.
But I don't want to see her just, you know, if she gets into a fight with Thor, just tossing him around and she's too powerful.
Right.
Because it kind of, then what's the point of everyone else? You know?
If she's going to be the most powerful MCU character, do you want to see evidence of that in her solo outing this coming year, or do you want to wait until Avengers 4 to see that?
It might be, because I don't know how it's going to turn out, like where she was this whole time.
Yeah.
But I don't want her to be. It might be nice. You know, we had Stephen Strange he was like, oh, I've just started doing magic, and then when we saw him in Infinity War, he's doing
come
more.
a long way.
Yeah, maybe something like that, where we see she has the potential to be very powerful.
Okay.
And then she's like, bro, I've been in space for the last 30 years just working out.
Yeah.
What's good? Like, maybe, you know, that might work.
See, I think my issue with her being the most powerful, and in terms of the most powerful, as you were asking what kind of way, Brie Larson, who's playing Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, seems to have hinted that she'd be strong enough to like move planets and stuff.
Okay.
And for me, I take a little issue with that being like an immediate, like not everyone who watches Avengers 4 is gonna see Captain Marvel because you know. The Avengers films make like $2 billion, whatever. I think Iron Man 3 and Black Panther made like 1.3 billion or something like that. So nearly twice the people that see like the highest solo outings are gonna see Avengers.
Of course.
And I like, while that's not the fault of the filmmakers or anything, I feel like there could be a strong kind of like Deus Ex Machina where she just turns up and solves everything. And I don't know, like, when we've got characters like Thor who've really like hit bottom several times and like now they're extremely powerful, you feel like some kind of attachment and excitement when you see them just being able to like wreck shop, But I feel like Captain Marvel just turning up and being that powerful might not sit well with the average viewer. And Captain Marvel is not a popular comic book character.
No.
I don't know anyone who has ever purchased any of her solo comic books. And basically, half of the reason that the Civil War II comic book is disliked is because people just don't like Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say there aren't people who really love her, because I'm sure there are. But I feel like her characterization has been really like sloppy over the years, and she's changed so many times in like a character. Like, they share a name and a backstory, but that seems about all. And I don't know. If this was, if Avengers 4 was like her third or fourth outing or something in the similar way to Thor's was in Avengers Infinity War, I'd be pretty happy for her to be on par or slightly stronger than him. But I do feel a bit funny about her just turning up and being the most powerful.
I guess one of my fears is recently we watched Justice League.
Yeah. Well, I watched parts of it. I didn't watch the whole thing.
I watched it with a friend. Speaking of superhero ensemble films.
Yeah.
And in that, they're kind of like, oh, we're not powerful enough. And you kind of saw that, Batman was kind of around everyone else. He was just a guy, and the Flash was like, oh, I keep tripping up everywhere. And then they were like, okay, we're going to bring Superman back from the dead. And all of a sudden, it kind of felt like everyone else was a bit redundant.
He does everything that they can do but better.
The Flash can run fast, but then so can Wonder Woman. And Flash trips over where Superman just flies. So what's the point in...
Superman catches up with him when he's running to save that weird Russian family.
Yeah, so he
he's
can
at least
go
as
faster.
fast.
Yeah. And then I was going to say Cyclops. Cyborg is like, I'm the only one who can hack into it, but then Superman just pulls them apart.
Yeah, he pulls them apart as if it's no bother.
Yeah, so
and he beats up I don't even remember the villain's name. No, it's not Darkseid. It's Steppenwolf. That's
I was going to say Uncle.
Uncle Wolf.
Uncle Rick.
Yeah, he beats him up as if he's no big deal as well.
Yeah.
And
it really just felt like...
I just don't want that. Captain Marvel turns up and flicks Thanos in the ear and he goes, owie! And drops the gauntlet.
Once he comes in, the characters who they've made you feel... Because a lot of them are new characters. The characters that maybe you'd be like, feel any attachment to, all of a sudden are just so redundant.
They're background characters.
Yeah, they mean nothing. There's no reason for them to be there. He's just kind of like, well, I guess I can't do everything at once. But then he kind of does anyway.
Yeah. He's so fast he can just basically do that, no problem.
So I don't want her to be like that.
There's a power creep as well, because the characters like Hawkeye and Black Widow, who are non-powered, they're just incredibly good at what they do.
Yeah.
Like, what good are they going to be when there's Thors and Captain Marvels hopping around just destroying everything, Like,
yeah.
I not to say that those characters can't be used well and kind of in moderation and stuff, but I think it's going to be weird if, like, we're watching these people, like, throw planets at each other, and then you go back to
guys like
Black Widow
don't worry,
hitting
guys.
someone in the knee with a baton.
I have 12 arrows.
Yeah.
My bow can turn into a spear.
I love Hawkeye. But it's going to be a weird one. Even like Black Panther, like...
Yeah, you got to get that.
Right, one of Captain Marvel's power, like, she's got flight and she's got, she can, like, shoot laser type things.
Yeah.
But she's got, like, energy absorption is, like, her main thing. But, like, so does T'Challa's suit.
Yeah.
Like, he's got power absorption. And...
That seems kind of like... He's not entirely in control of it, though, because a lot of the times...
It's just a burst,
he starts bursting it, and then he's, like, shot with a bomb, and so the burst kind of is bad for him because it throws him backwards, or he's slammed into the floor, and it just kind of makes a mess of the fight for him.
But, like, considering he's got just energy absorption, surely if he got, like, beaten up by the Hulk for, like, a long amount of time, he'd have all of that energy's worth in his suit.
I think it can only take so much, and then it bursts. Like,
well, that would probably be a pretty good limit for Captain Marvel as well.
Yeah, something like that. She can only.
Or she can't handle just anything.
She's got a cap. Once her battery's full, she's got to get rid of it, or she dies.
Yeah. Now that being said, I think they went a bit too far in places with Thor's abilities in Infinity War. Like, he can now survive in space. He can survive the full power of a star.
Only if he dies.
Yes, that's what that means. But, I think they've gone to a bit too much of an extreme with him in places. But, I do worry about that being a power creep. And another thing is, Hulk doesn't even seem like a powerful character in the MCU.
No.
All he does is get beaten up. Yeah. He's beaten up by Abomination. He's beaten up by Iron Man.
Yeah.
He was beaten up, or he was defeated by S.H.I.E.L.D. by dropping him out of that air carrier, and he just passed out when he hit the ground.
Beaten up by Thor a bit.
Beaten up by
a big dog.
What? Oh yeah, a big dog. Thanos beat him up. Surtur, he bounced off Surtur like it was nothing.
Yeah.
Thor beat him without his hammer.
Yeah.
Tony Stark in the Hulkbuster knocked him out. Mm-hmm. That's 10 defeats that I can think of off the top of my head. Like, he's never come out like as a out-and-out champion.
Yeah, we maybe needed to see a scene of him just being like, guys, exactly. I can actually, rather than just reputation, one time he beat up Loki.
Yeah, he smashed Loki around a bit, and Loki was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's, I don't like that, because for me, it's out of the comic book characters, Hulk is the most physically powerful.
Yeah.
Like, because he's got no limit. Like, the angrier he gets, the more he can do.
Yeah.
So it just keeps increasing. It's like a snowball effect. Like, if he's fighting someone who's like way more powerful than him, he'll just get madder and madder and madder because he can't do it. It keeps getting beaten up. It hurts. He gets madder and madder. Yeah. Eventually, like in the comics, he's just unbeatable. He can like punch through dimensions and stuff like that at times, and he can beat up characters like Dormammu and stuff like that. You know, like it's crazy how powerful he gets versus how underpowered he seems in.
So there's maybe characters we want to bring down a bit and some characters we want to bring up a bit.
Yeah. I'd be happy to see Thor and Hulk on like a very level playing field, and I'd be happy for Captain Marvel to match that.
Yeah.
But to outpass them, especially in her first couple of outings, I feel might be a bit much. Also, because Captain Marvel takes place in the 90s, there's a very large gap, like you were saying about Doctor Strange and how, he comes away from his solo film and suddenly he's a lot more powerful. But there's like, what, a 25-year gap between Captain Marvel and Avengers 4. Jump. So even if she does get a lot better in that amount of time, that just might feel weird. Like, that's a very long time.
It's a lot, so where we've not seen anything from her.
She has no ability to absorb magic, though, either, does she? So a character like Black Widow or Doctor Strange... No, sorry, not Black Widow. Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange should be able to beat her.
That's like Superman's problem as well. It's like, I can do anything but magic. No.
Yeah, well, I think if she could like consume magic as well, it'd be too
sense.
much.
Yeah. I think, but one time, because when we were watching it, there's a bit where what's her name,
Proxima
Midnight. She's fighting Okoye
and Black Widow
and Scarlet Witch. He's in there too.
Doesn't Scarlet Witch turn up kind of late though?
No, she's kind of in there just a bit.
Okay, right.
And those three are like two women who are just very good at what they do, and then Scarlet Witch, who lifted up those giant razor blades.
She's incredibly powerful. Yeah, but she's another one who could easily be in that kind of bracket.
What I liked about her there was her thing is she needs focus.
Yeah.
She
can't divert her attention.
Yeah, she's like the wizard of the group. If she's being punched, there's not really like she can't focus, and so there's so little she can. Because in that she was like rolling around the place, and it was only when she'd been given time to lie on the ground and be like, damn, that hurt, that she was able to lift up Proxima Midnight.
Yeah.
So something like that where they're powerful, but you've got to find...
Captain Marvel does have like a real kind of temper in the comics as well.
Oh, yeah?
So maybe that'd be a possibility where she'd lose her focus on stuff and when she gets mad and not be able to perform to the best of her ability. Or something like that. Like she, maybe in order to like punch a planet away or something, she need to be like in peak concentration, or it would like take it out of her because she'd have like literally zero energy left after that, and she'd need a recovery period or something. Like,
have you ever seen? Probably not. There's an anime called My Hero Academia.
No, I've heard of it though.
That's about like superheroes, and the world building in that is quite cool. But the main character is given the powers of like that world's Superman kind of thing. He's like a giant muscular guy who's super duper strong, but he gives it to this like young boy, and he'll punch a guy out of a building, but then his arm is just decimated, his arm is just destroyed, and he has to spend a week just
recovering,
not using that arm because and he's learning how to be able to use it without destroying him. But he'll do things like he'll punch, but then at the last second he'll use his power only in his finger, so he only breaks his finger. But that's cool because it puts a cap on his powers.
Yeah, like he couldn't like slug out a few of them in a row.
No, he does one, and then he's like, okay, guys, you take it from here.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
How many seasons of that is there?
There's 3. Yeah. I think I only reached the second season, and then
worth checking out.
Yeah, it's got some cool world building.
Yeah.
If you're into superheroes, because some of them are like celebrities, and then obviously there's like schools for superheroes and stuff. And it's kind of the way it's brought into the world is very interesting.
Me and my mates sometimes joke about like there's good world building is often a like something that people say when there's like nothing else good about it. It's like it's a cool idea for the world, but
no, but it is just as someone who enjoys world building and doing it myself, I appreciated how
from a creative perspective.
From a creative perspective, how they decided to make it their own kind of thing was quite cool.
Neat. Yeah, maybe I'll give that a go at some stage when I'm finished the massive list of other TV shows that I'm supposed to watch. Cool.
Yeah.
So, in conclusion, we don't know.
We don't want her to be too powerful, but hey, let her punch a guy around.
I trust Kevin Feige more or less, so do your thing, Kevin. Great. Okay, so last segment today, I'm going to talk really briefly, not going to be long at all, about a film theory that I have.
Okay.
So this was originally mostly my idea. There's something that I thought about, and then I posted it. I talked to my friends about it, and I posted it on reddit.com.
Yes.
And
the home of all fan theories.
Yeah.
Every one of them.
Really? No. I had some other
suggestions. This is the only podcast that's the only fan theory website.
You're right. The only podcast, the only fan theory website, and Spider-Man is the only comic book character.
Yeah.
Okay, we've narrowed it down.
Forget about everything else we've said.
Yeah. It's all retracted.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, this is a theory which I'm not going to take full credit for, and I'm sure you could see this elsewhere on the internet because it's a pretty good theory, and I bet it will be talked about outside of just myself. And the theory circulates MCU version of Uncle Ben.
Okay.
So Uncle Ben obviously is Peter's uncle who dies basically as soon as Peter gets his powers, and then he feels very responsible for everything that's happened, and that kind of becomes Peter's like mythology is if he can't do something, he has to do it.
Yeah.
But we know nothing about MCU Uncle Ben at all. So there was so my theory was that Uncle Ben was involved. He was a filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that I have come to this conclusion is because basically Peter Parker's probably most notable character trait is the fact that he constantly references movies. Anyone see that really old movie, The Empire Strikes Back? Have you seen Aliens? Have you seen whatever other ones he does? Like, he does quite a few of them, doesn't he?
He's got a couple.
He knows like Flash Gordon, he knows Footloose. Like, he's very keyed in on films generally.
Especially older films, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So films that came out in the 70s are the bulk of what he talked about.
Yeah.
Late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
Which, presuming that Uncle Ben is roughly the same age as Marissa Tomei, who plays Aunt May, they are films that would have come out when Uncle Ben was a young man and would probably have a strong affinity for.
Yeah.
Additionally, at the beginning of Spider-Man Homecoming, we see Peter make a film during his trip to Germany in Civil War.
Oh, yeah.
When he's like, Queens, home. It ain't much, but it's where I'm from, or whatever like that, So he's interested in film in that regard as well. Like, there's evidence of him making films and kind of like having a more of an interest in it.
Yeah.
And thirdly, Mysterio is believed to be the villain of Spider-Man Far From Home, who, as a character, is also a filmmaker. He's like a disgruntled special effects, makeup guy.
Yeah.
And something that you see with every Spider-Man film so far is that all of the characters who are villains always have a connection to Peter Parker himself, as well as Spider-Man. Yeah. And I think that's great because it makes it like a multifaceted threat.
It's a good way of being able to show Spider-Man's life and Peter Parker's life without having them be too far away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so this would be a fantastic way to work it in, is that Uncle Ben was a filmmaker who had a big falling out with the guy who becomes Mysterio. I forget the dude's name.
Yeah.
But I think that would be a really great kind of introduction. I think it would make sense for like the world. We've established in Guardians of the Galaxy that there are like biopics about Tony Stark and stuff like that.
Have we?
Yeah. There's a scene where there's like there's a cinema in the background. It's got posters for all films, and all of like the main actor is Nathan Fillion, who's from like he's in Firefly. He's the main guy in Firefly.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a good friend of James Gunn, who directed Guardians and Guardians 2. So all of the movie posters are him playing like the titular characters. One of them looks like a Terminator type film. One of them is basically the Steve Jobs poster. It's like a white background and man holding his hand to his mouth.
Yeah.
But it's called Stark instead of Jobs or whatever.
Yeah. That's cool.
So that, you know, we understand that there are films being made actively in this world and stuff, and, you know, not everyone's just like stopped doing things because there's superheroes running around and stuff. So yeah, make him a filmmaker.
Yeah,
that'd be really cool. And introduce him that way, and then there's like a direct connection. Like Aunt May might know this guy and remember him before he kind of freaked out on Uncle Ben or something like that. And you know, maybe there was a stage. You know, maybe there's even like a financial thing to it where they basically lived off of Uncle Ben's salary, and then following maybe Mysterio like ran him for everything that he could and sued him or something like that for laying him off or whatever, and ended up that's why they kind of had to downsize their apartment, and then they downsized it again from in between Civil War and Homecoming.
Oh yeah,
because they're two different apartments.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be a really cool introduction, and I just want to top that off with I was thinking about who you'd cast as Uncle Ben.
Oh.
Uncle Ben, no, not Mysterio, because I believe Jake Gyllenhaal is playing Mysterio
cool.
in Far From Home.
Mm-hmm.
He's at least been added as the main villain.
Okay, yeah.
I was thinking about who you'd cast as Uncle Ben, because obviously Marissa Tomei is like 53, I think, and is incredibly attractive for her age. You know, she's aged incredibly well.
Yeah.
So I wanted someone who's kind of, you know, within a few years of that.
Yeah.
I've seen people suggest like Tobey Maguire as Uncle Ben, which I think would be funny, but I don't think it's like something that they'd seriously entertain the thought of.
No, it would be funny, but it'd also be very unsettling.
Yeah, definitely. It really would. I wouldn't watch that.
How old is Tobey Maguire now?
He must be like 40. I don't know. I don't know.
But he's still kind of got a baby face, doesn't he?
He does a bit, but he's like the same age as Leonardo DiCaprio, isn't he?
Is he?
Yeah, I believe so. Because they were like mates growing up, I think. Leonardo DiCaprio almost played Spider-Man as well in the 90s. Yeah, in the was it James Cameron?
James Cameron.
Yeah, we'll talk about that script on
another day. Yeah, we need to talk about that one sometime.
That's our crap comic everything of the week.
Nothing about that film.
But yeah, so I actually thought about this, and I wanted Ralph Macchio to play Uncle Ben, who is the original Karate Kid.
Okay.
Now, that dude is 55, I think. I looked it up.
Mm-hmm.
He looks amazing for his age.
Okay.
He looks so good, because I just saw him in Cobra Kai, which is the TV series about the Karate Kid, and there was the guy Johnny, the blonde guy. I think so.
His name was Evil Karate Man.
Evil Karate Man, yeah. They're grown up, and they're like the same age, you know?
Yeah.
Because I believe Ralph Macchio was actually like 22 when he filmed Karate Kid, which is mad because he looks so young.
He does.
But like those dudes are the same age, and the Evil Karate Man could be 15, 20 years older than him quite easily.
Yeah.
But on top of that, like he plays a really caring father in Cobra Kai, and I feel like that would
transition so well.
Yeah, great for Uncle Ben, who's a very loving character. And additionally, he's worked with Marissa Tomei as a love interest before.
Mm-hmm.
So they, like, Marissa Tomei and Robert Downey Jr. have acted together before, and I think that immediately gave them good chemistry.
Yeah.
And I think that Ralph Macchio and Marissa Tomei having previous experience together would also be really good. And just look up a picture of him when you were done, and like I think that he'd be so spot on.
You'd then have to de-age him a bit, though, wouldn't you?
Not really. Like Marissa Tomei and Ralph Macchio could play just both of them.
Yeah,
like
they look very young. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
they do look
and
young.
even if you did, like they're doing Sam Jackson and what's his name, Coulson.
Yeah,
Nick Fury and Coulson. They're de-aging them for like a whole film in Captain Marvel, so I'm sure it wouldn't be too much work for them.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, really happy with both of my castings today. I think they're top notch.
Yeah, no.
Not to pat myself on the back too much, but.
But if you dislike this video, blocked.
Yeah, blocked and reported.
But yeah, no, I like that theory a lot. I think it floats very well.
Yeah.
And it would lead to like having a. It also leads into the character to the villain as well.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a good tie-in.
Yeah. Where do you think Far From Home is?
I think it's a European like school trip because I know that they're shooting in Prague and London.
Okay.
I think that whatever happens in Avengers 4 will be ironed out pretty smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
And I also heard from Kevin Feige, I believe, that Far From Home takes place like 2 minutes after the end of Avengers 4. So I would say
Far From Home takes place 2 minutes after Avengers 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd say that it's probably just like a direct lead on and probably won't touch too much on the events of Avengers 4.
So maybe it's Far From Home because, first of all, he's in space. And then he's in Prague.
I don't think so. I think that'll be wrapped up before then. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it'll end and then he'll be home.
Also, a little bit of a spoiler for potentially Avengers 4 and Far From Home. No idea if this is right or not, but I just saw that Gwyneth Paltrow has been shooting Pepper Potts in London.
Okay.
With Jon Favreau, who's Happy Hogan.
Yeah.
And Robert Downey Jr. is not present or accounted for on set.
Okay.
So that maybe brings some questions as to the fate of Tony Stark in Avengers 4.
Yeah.
Just some food for thought.
Yeah. Or maybe she's just on a business meeting.
Yeah, true. I suppose he's got bigger things to worry about than running Stark Industries.
Yeah. Well, unless you want to tell everyone about your new mixtape, I think that's...
Yeah, I don't think that we should do too much cross-promotion on this because, I think just kind of getting people to listen in the meantime is
we're not dropping your SoundCloud.
Maybe like issue 10 or something
issue
like that.
10.
We'll talk about our music career a little bit more.
Yeah, okay.
Just to explain, we're not serious about that also. I hope that was obvious, but just in case.
Requests come in.
Yeah, no, please. Play Wonderwall. Great, that's us for this week.
That's us. We're out of your ears. We're done. Goodbye.
Yep.
Yep, that's us.